I've always had that active right brain, left brain things, right, with the humanities and languages and then the sciences and the maths. So I don't know if that left me a little bit more open to it, but even if you talk physics, right, physics says we're all made up of energy. Energy's all around us. Energy cannot be destroyed, right? So when you think about it that way, you can see where you could tap into that. I finished high school thinking I wanted to go into social services and the humanities. I went to Mohawk. I did my first year of social services, and then in my second year, in the middle of September, I actually came down with mono. So I was down and out for the count for 6 months. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do anymore, but I went on to get a part-time job in a group home, and I just felt that I couldn't help them as much as I wanted to because there were so many health issues. And at the time, was in a bit of a emotionally abusive relationship. And he pushed me away from my family and made it hard for me to talk to them and hard for me to see them, to the point where I really felt isolated. I think the right person at the right time, it just takes that one moment of weakness, and the right person comes along and they can turn that slight vulnerability into a big wound. And I had decided to end that, and that meant making a big change and a shift. So I went to Conestoga and I did the pre-health sciences program and then the respiratory therapy program. And I did 5 years in sleep. And then kind of in between all of those things, I was picking up and learning different holistic health techniques because I just loved them. So I was doing the holistic stuff part-time or just on evenings and weekends, that sort of thing. And then the purple door opened up and I met Elizabeth, and it was like, this is where I'm supposed to be. Yes. What about the mythology Bible? Yeah. I was born breech, and I was a congenital dysplasia of the hip. So my feet were beside my ears and my legs were not in the hip socket. So I've always had, and I mean, I'm super lucky. I'm one of the ones, we did braces, we did special shoes, the whole bit, and I'm able to walk. So I'm always feel very blessed for that. But I do have issues because my hip joint is not where everybody else is. So I would be a teenager and it'd be the dead of winter and I wouldn't be able to get off the couch because it was almost like the joints were frozen. And we did things like physiotherapy and all of that stuff, and it didn't quite hit everything, but the hands-on energy healing helped to cushion it for me, I found. And so I think when you have an experience like that where something really helps you physically, that's when you go, okay, this is a good thing. Just kind of got to let the sensations work through. You can channel life force energies, so the energy that is all around us. And by channeling that and helping that flow through to another person, you can help to clear any energetic blockages. So the idea that energies can get stuck in the body physically, especially things like anger and sadness, guilt, grief, when we hold on to them too tightly, and then you can start to see them manifest physically. Through a Reiki session, you can help to clear or create more movement of the chi or the life force energy and the other person, and that helps to bring them to a more balanced place. All the neural pathways are just kind of firing up right now. I absolutely love all of the energy healing techniques. I started with Reiki and then I started crystals, and I also learned aromatherapy and all kinds of different things that I could just kind of put together. So I call them soul spa sessions because I intuitively do what you need, whether it's a little bit of sound therapy or do you need a certain essential oil? Do you need some crystals? And then doing the hands-off energy healing as part of that. I do the Ohana generational healing. It's all about keeping the balance that we've created. Generational healing has been a thing for quite some time, and now with the new research into epigenetics and the DNA and all of that, they're showing that traumas from families do carry on in the next generation, even though they never experienced it. And then on the bodywork side of things, I do Bowen therapy, reflexology, indie head massage, and facial rejuvenation. This side's a little bit tighter than the other side. For the most part, for me, my hands just get really, really hot. Like there's just a huge wave of heat that kind of flows through. So with the facial rejuvenation, we do a combination of energy, acupressure, and massage. As you're going over the body, you can feel like your hand gets stuck, almost like a magnet, and you're like, okay, I need to stay here. It's a really cool experience when you tap into it. For the holistic stuff, it's supposed to be preventative. So let's get your body optimized as much as possible. It gets your energies optimized as much as possible to prevent these things from happening. If you break your leg, don't come to me for a Bowen session. Go to the hospital. You need a cast. If you broke your leg and it's already healed and you're still having a little bit of problems, then come and see me. I grew up, my dad's Catholic and my mom grew up Protestant. It didn't fit for me. And as I said, I mean, I had a lot of freedom. I was outside all the time when I was younger. And so I think that just developed a really deep connection with the earth. And so for me, spiritually, everything went back to that earth. I mean, I used to go around the back of our trailer and water the ferns because the fairies needed water. Right? If I wasn't running around, you'd find me up a tree. So and that for me, there's an energy there. When I started exploring in my teen years, I started coming into, well, I think first it was Wicca, because Wicca is pretty well known and diverse. And then it just kind of became a stepping stone, and then I started learning more, and then I started learning more. So I always say I have an eclectic view of spirituality. By the light of Apollo, I anoint this candle for blessings and brightness, and for creative resolution and guidance. As I explored, I started going into different things and understanding different beliefs behind it, and getting into understanding where the witchcraft side of things steps in, and the ability to create and manifest using different tools and ceremony, and building energy within yourself and sending that out into the universe. I love the ritual, and I love being able to create and manifest in my life in a way. So some people do vision boards. I do ceremony with candles and cards, and calling in the elements and working with the earth and the natural cycles of the earth. So it's kind of like a warning, letting you know that it's time to step in. With paganism, witchcraft, and Wicca even, there is no concept of an absolute evil, like the devil or Satan. Everything shifts, right? Energy is energy, and sometimes it's heavy and sometimes it's light. And if it's heavy, then it's time to let it go. When you let it sit and you let it fester, then we start to kind of clue into this idea that something evil is on us. But really, it's just something that needs to be let go in your life. So if you can accept and flow with the changes, that's usually where you need to be. So when you turn it the 3 times clockwise, what it does is it opens up so that the tea takes in your energy, so that we can get a reading off of it. Then I got into the tea leaf reading. Everyone's like, are you psychic? I'm more intuitive than anything else, and I run a lot on empathy and just kind of listening to my body, but I don't see things. I don't see your dead grandmother sitting beside you, those sorts of things. It's just, we all have different senses when it comes to that, and that's okay. And I'm really happy with mine and how they work for me. There is a lot of love coming in, and this is getting connected with your heart and doing what you love the most. I believe in the earth. It's beneath my feet. I can feel her heartbeat when I put my toes in the grass. I can feel the sun. I can feel the energies as they shift around us. We go through a natural cycle in our lives, in the earth, and you can see it. And if you can sync those things up, your life can just explode. And yeah, I really see you dancing. So
Okay, that's awesome.
whether you just do it at home by yourself.
I do by myself.
This is all about creating a sacred space that you can do your self-healing through. Because I really believe that the healing process, it happens internally. What I'm doing is just creating an environment where your body and your energies can do what it needs to do. And finding that inner heart space. So I always want to work from my heart to help you connect with yours and hear your inner voice. And when you can come back to you, you start sleeping better. And sleep is so important. That's when you process, it's when you digest. And then you become more aware of the opportunities. And I think that's the other thing is when you're so externalized, you get tunnel visioned, right? I can only go left or right. But it comes back to the fact that there are limitless possibilities out there. When I walk into a healing session, I don't walk in with the expectation of what's going to happen. I don't expect what's going to be healed. I let it flow the way it needs to flow because your body knows what you need. Your body knows better than I know what it is you need, and it will direct whatever modality we're doing where it needs it to go. So I let it go, and it's all about you and where you need it. We need to dedicate more time and more energy to doing studies on holistic techniques and seeing how they are working. If it's been around for centuries and people are still using it and still finding a benefit from it, whether you can prove it in a study or think it's just a placebo effect, at the end of the day, the result's the same. 90% of the DNA they thought was just junk. I mean, that's such an important structure in what makes us up. How can 90% of it just be junk?
Oh.
And I think it's just stuff that we don't understand yet.
I know. Oh.
So at the end of the day, what it is that it means to be here right now. What does your body feel like? What is your heart saying to you? What is right now going on in your body? Because nothing else matters.